So first today we're going to be reviewing classes. I know Jiang, the other TA, taught you guys about classes and polymorphism and stuff like that last week. But the stuff he talked about was very confusing, and I feel like we do need another class just to review. So today will mostly be a review lesson. We will be reviewing, and then we will actually be demoing how to do this. So to begin, what is a Java class? Now, there are 4 keywords you need to know when we are talking about classes, and that is, first one, classes, objects, attributes, and methods. Now, these concepts are kind of abstract, so let's put them into an example. Let's say we have an object, a toy car. If you know a toy car, and the object will be the car, the actual car that you can actually hold in your hand, the physical object. The class would be like the blueprint. You build the car off of the blueprint. Without a blueprint, you would not know which part goes where, right? You would not know how many doors it has, how many engines it has, how many windows, etc., etc. So the class is the blueprint. Now, within the class, there are 2 things, 2 types of things, right? There are many things in the blueprint, and these things can be put into 2 categories. The first category is attributes. Attributes are physical things of the car, like the weight, the color, the shape, the size, the volume. That's all physical, so that's the attributes of the car. Okay, it's what things the car has. Methods, on the other hand, is what things the car can do. So for example, the toy car can drive, the toy car can brake, brake as in it stops, and the toy car can also maybe do a flip. You know, if it rides up on the wall, it can do a flip. That's all things that the car can do, and those are the methods of the car. Now, this before where we had in a class where the method is doing something, but the very same concept, you just move it to a class, and now we are making an object of that class. So the object can also do these things because it's written in the blueprint of the object. There is an activity we have planned. Think of an object and list its attributes and methods in the chat. Now, this object can be any object. It can be real, it can be fictional. Maybe you can do like a magic broom from Harry Potter, or anything that you can think of. And as long as it's a physical thing, it must have physical attributes, and it must have things that it can do. List its attributes and methods in the chat. While you do the activity, I will also make an example. So for example, I put an example in the chat. The example I chose was a magic carpet from Aladdin. The attributes of the carpet, it's a thin carpet, relatively thin as far as we can see, and it has a nice pattern on it, although I don't remember what exactly was the pattern. And it's big enough to hold 2 people, right? That's the attributes, that the physical part of the physical descriptions of the carpet. The methods, what it can do is it can fly. It can carry 2 people while flying, or maybe more, we don't know. We only seen Jasmine and Aladdin on the carpet. And it can fly really fast. They were whizzing through the air, so I'm assuming they can fly really fast. Now, these are all things that the carpet can do, which is what makes these things methods instead of attributes. Attributes are just what the object is. The object is a thin carpet, the object has a nice pattern, and the object is big enough to hold 2 people. Now, the object can carry people, that's method. So is or has, that's attributes. Can or cannot, that's methods. And now we're going to talk about how to create a class. So there are several steps to create a class, but they're all relatively simple. So number 1, you have to open a new project or new class, depending on whatever IDE you are using. For Replit, you can just click the little plus sign, and it automatically creates a new class, which is what we've been doing like all this whole time. But Replit now is too slow, and it doesn't really let me do anything because my internet's bad. I use a local ID, and for that, I too have to create a new class every time I want to make a class. So make sure that the name is public class name, and the word class in it is all lowercase. Now remember, Java is case sensitive, so if you put something in lowercase and it's supposed to be uppercase, Java won't recognize it and it will throw an error. Okay. Second, you have to name your class something that is relevant. This is something that's true for all naming instances in Java, whether you're naming a variable, a method, anything, you have to name it something that's relevant. So for example, a car, rectangle, calculator, don't name it db3x45, stuff like that, because no one will know, you yourself won't remember what it is, and you will have a hard time typing it. Now, the first letter is always capitalized. Okay, that's just the rule. You don't have to follow the rule, but if you don't follow the rule, people will look at you weirdly. And if you have a second word, the first letter of the second word is also capitalized. Okay, the first letter of every word that's in the title is capitalized, and of course, there's no space in between. In Java, no space is allowed. Okay. Third, you have to include brackets. So for example, public class car, open bracket, and at the end, the very end, after all your code has finished, you put a close brackets. Nothing goes after the closing brackets except comments. Now, I wouldn't even suggest putting comments after the closing brackets because it's very easy to forget to comment them, or you accidentally uncomment them, and then when you compile, Java throws an error and it's really annoying. But that's always the case with comments. You can put them anywhere, but there are easier places to keep track of them. And also in a class, you have to have a constructor. Now I will get to what a constructor is in a second. You can have attributes, you can have methods, or you don't have to have them, but it's highly suggested that you do, because a class without attributes or methods can't really do much. The class without attributes and methods can't really do much. Okay. So next is how to create an object. Again, steps to creating an object is very similar to what we've done with arrays before. Now, arrays are objects. Java is an object-oriented programming language, which means that 90% of the things in Java are objects. Now, if you remember, string is also an object. I've said quite a few times, not many, but a few times before, the string is not a primitive type data because the first letter is capitalized. That's different from int and boolean and double or a character, that those are primitive types and they are not objects. Because they are not objects, they do not have attributes and they do not have methods. String, on the other hand, has methods. That's why you can convert int into string and convert like boolean into string, because a string has methods and it has like methods that allow you to do that. That was a tangent. If you want more information, you can raise your hand, ask a question. But if you don't have a question, I'm gonna continue with the lesson. No questions? Okay. So steps to creating an object of the class. Remember, object always has to be of the class you created or one of the objects that Java comes with. I think the Java comes with a string. For arrays, you have to import them. Right? If you want to create an object of the class that you made, you can create it in the class with the blueprint. So you can create the object in the class along with the blueprint, or you can create it in another class. Now, if you create another class, it's not inheritance. I know Jim talked about inheritance last time, but there is a big difference between calling an object in another class and inheriting information. We will get to inheritance later if we have time in the course, but calling an object calling the object with the blueprint that you made in another class is not inheritance. So you can do that. You can do that. I'm not sure how to do it in IntelliJ, but in most local IDEs, you have to have the two classes in the same package. And I will show you, I can show you real quick. So this is my IntelliJ IDE. What do I mean by classes are in the same package? This is what I mean. So you can see I have lesson 7, lesson 8, lesson 10, lesson 11, lesson 12. These are different classes. You see, they have the name, they have the word class. Oops, they have the word class here. That means they are different classes. But I can call class lesson 11 in class lesson 12 because they are in the same package, and by in the same package they are in the same program. So for example, this is the in the same project. I am not sure how IntelliJ works. I can check if you guys have information. If you guys want information, it shouldn't be too hard to call another class. Right. If my internet is good today, I might be able to demonstrate. Secondly, you can create the object in the main or in a method. You can also create it not in a main and not in a method, just playing out in the open. But most people don't do that. Most people don't do that unless it's a special case. And we will not be doing that in the purpose of this class. We will always be making it in the main or in a method. If you create an object outside of the main or the method, the only advantage is that they can be accessed without being passed in as parameter. You can try. I can do my best to accommodate for your needs if you guys want to do that. But again, not the point of this class. Okay. All right. Lastly, format. The name, how to create an object. You first have the name of the class, the object name, equal sign, new, and the name of class again with the parentheses. Now, these parentheses are not brackets, okay? These are the same parentheses that you use when you create methods. For example, let's say I have a car, and I name the car my car. That's the name, equals new car, parentheses, semicolon. Next, let's talk about what is a constructor. So a constructor is a special method. It is a special method, but it's a method nonetheless. So this actually right here is the constructor method. You don't have to know exactly what that means, but you can keep it in the back of your mind. It's a special method that's used to initialize object. It is always called, when you create an object, you call the constructor method. If you don't make an constructor method, Java will automatically make a constructor method for you. And if Java automatically makes a constructor method for you, you won't get to decide what goes in the constructor method, which is really not handy dandy, which is really not inconvenient. So most of the time we create the constructor method and we tell Java what to do with the constructor method. It's used to set the initial values of the object attributes, and it's the same as the class name. So for example, if I have a public class car, this class car is the blueprint, and the public car, that's the constructor method. The constructor method is always public, private, or there's another one, or let's, for the purpose of the class, let's just do public. We won't be touching on private because that's very confusing. Let's just do public and then space and then car and then parentheses. Now that parentheses can take in parameters. And I will get to creating multiple constructors if we have time. Right, so for now, just know that constructors are public and the name of the class and then pair of parentheses. I will be demoing what constructors actually do in a later, but any questions so far on any of these basic stuffs? No, okay. Next, we have attributes and methods. So attributes and methods are kind of similar because they're all things within the class. So attributes are variables within the class. They are initialized in the class or in the constructor. We very rarely initialize attributes in methods. And when we do that, it's very easy to make mistakes. So we usually just initialize attributes right at the start of the class, after we put like the first open bracket, and then we initialize whatever attributes we want to have, and then we have the constructor. The constructor is important, but we don't put it as high on the list as attributes. For example, attributes are variables, right? Since they're variables, they're int x, int y, string name. Remember, string is an object, but it's also a variable. We can have Boolean, we have character, double, etc., etc. We can also have arrays. Arrays are also variables. They contain information. Methods. So methods are declared within a class and used to perform certain actions. For example, add 5, minus 2. Those are very similar to what we've done with methods before, right? Nothing too special. You can also have parameters. You can also don't have parameters. It doesn't really matter. It depends on the method, etc., etc. Now, accessing attributes versus methods are kind of confusing because you have to understand that attributes do not have the little parentheses after it. So accessing attributes, for example, if my car, the object my car has an int x, and this x represents its age, for example, the x is the age of the car. X is an attribute because it's a variable. It's a part of the car. It is something that a car is. It's not something that the car can do, which is why it's an attribute. And because it's an attribute, it doesn't have a parentheses. So when we want to call when we want to know the age of the car, we say system.out.println mycar.x. That prints out the age of the car, which is x. For example, that's versus when we want to call a method being add 5, we do mycar.add5 parentheses, because my add 5 is a method. It does something to the my car. So that's basically it about accessing attributes versus methods. I will create a new class, and we can name this class. Does anybody have anything they want to name the class? For example, you guys can name it like car. You can name it like magic broom, or anything. Any ideas for an object that we can use? What's an interesting object? And this object doesn't have to be real. It can be fictional. It can be, something from your favorite novel. No? Okay. Well, let's just name it car then. So this new class car, my ID automatically gives me brackets, but if your ID doesn't, you remember to have brackets. Brackets are very important. They signal the start and the end of the class. So first thing, constructors or attributes. Well, let's do attributes first. So for a car, let's have an int for age, and let's set it to 0. Int age, well, no, let's not initialize it. We initialize everything in the constructors. Int age, int model. No, not a model, a string model. String model. Let's do string brand as well. Because it's a car. Let's do a real car instead of a toy car. String. Anything else about a car? String. Let's do int weight. Length. How long the car is. Oops. Length. How long the car is. What other attributes are there in a car? Can you think of? Number of doors. Door number. Some cars have 2 doors. Some cars have 4 doors. Wheels, good. And wheels. Okay. How many wheels does the car have? And also, let's do Boolean is electric. Some cars are electric, some cars are not electric. Okay, I think we have enough attributes for now. That's quite a lot of attributes, things about the car. Let's do the constructor. A constructor is public car and then parentheses. So we have, when we want to create a car, we want to initialize all the attributes. We want to set the attributes. So let's make a car, a very generic car. That's ages 5 is 5 years old. The model is a Tesla. The model is a E. Let's do E. I think that's the only Tesla car I know. The brand is Tesla. Tesla. Right. The weight. How much does a car weigh? Car weight. Let's do 1324 kilograms. 1324 kilos. And remember, this is in kilos. Length. Do 2 meters. 2. Door. No. Do you guys want this car to be 2-door or 4-door? 4-door. Okay, Rosalind wants to be 4-door. Okay, good. Wheels. Do you guys want 2 wheels or 4 wheels or 3 wheels? Or 3 wheels working, 1 wheel broken? Any preference? 1 wheel. Okay. So 1 wheel working, 3 wheels broken. Okay. And Boolean. No, is electric is true because Tesla cars are electric. That's the thing. So, what can the car do? The car can drive, right? Does the car have a maximum speed? Let's do a method where we int max, int speed, and int max speed. So public current speed and speed 1. So all right, it has to be void. Right, because we're not returning anything. Also, constructors don't return anything. Did I mention that? If I mentioned that, you guys remember it right now. Constructors never return anything. Okay, they're like void. They change stuff, they add stuff, but they don't return anything. But we don't have void in there. So, anyways, so the current speed, system.out.println, the current speed is let's check speed equals speed speed, and let's create a public void max speed. Now, we can create a max speed that calls current speed. That would be interesting, right? That's an error. For example, we can have current speed 1. That would set speed to speed 1 and print out the current speed is this fast. And then we can say system.out.println, the max speed is plus max speed 1. So for example, if we make a new class, say main, let's just name it main. No, it's wrong. Perhaps I can't name it main. Let's just do testing. There we go, right? I can't name it main for some reason. Public static void main string args. And then we have, let's create an object of the car. Now, if you guys remember how to create an object, it's car due to my car equals new car. Oops, why did I do a bracket? Why did I do a bracket? That's weird. Semicolon. And now we want to see, oh wait, we have to have set. I totally forgot about that. Never mind, we can do set later. So if we want to call current speed, what we do, if you remember, what we do is my car.current speed, and we have to have a parameter in there. What do you guys want the current speed to be? Do you want it to be going? Okay, 100 miles per hour. Oh, you actually have like units. So let's go in there. Here we go. Right. And when we print this, run this, my bad, not print. The current speed is 100. Now, if we make the max speed 100, well, no, let's do the max speed as 200, and then the current speed is still as 100. And we run this. The max speed is 200. Interesting, isn't it? That's how you basically create an object and run the method of that object. This way you can create countless different objects, and you can make these objects do different things. And now I just remember something quite important that I forgot to talk to you guys, and these are things called getters and setters. So setters, so attributes, you don't have to initialize all attributes in the constructor. Sometimes you can initialize attributes with something called setters. And now setters is type of method that takes in a parameter and sets the attribute equal to that parameter. Very simple. Let me change. So for example, the starting age of the car is 5. But what if the car grew old? I want to change the age of the car. I will make a public void, because we are not returning anything. You can return something, but I would not suggest it for setters. Setters usually do not return anything. Void set age, for example, and I take int age 1. Now here is very simple. I just make age equal to age 1, and that changes the age. Let's test it out here. For example, system.out@println my car dot age. Now let's do my car dot set age dot. Let's do 10. Now this car is 10 years old. Then do my car dot age again. If we run this, what do you think will happen? The first age of the car, the beginning of the age of the car, is 5. After I change the age of the car, it's now 10. Okay. All right. There are other ways to do. Let's do a string. Okay. So public void set model. see string model 1. And oops, and now model equals model 1. Does it work like that? The string works. I think string might work like that. I haven't done a string set in quite some time. Model set model. Right. This will be now a, what's a brand of a car? Let's do Ford. Let's do Ford. Car dot model. And remember, string has to be in parentheses. Haha. And let's try running it. Hopefully it works. It does work. Car. Oh wait, it's supposed to be brand. Well, that's okay. You guys get the idea. You guys get the idea on how to do setters. That's int string. Boolean works the same. You change it and you take in stuff. Well, what if you want to make a car that's entirely different from this basic car? Do you have to make setters for every single attribute? Do you have to, you know, call the setter in testing to change every single attribute? How not efficient would that be? That'd be really inefficient, right? Well, there's a solution for that. You can have multiple constructors. And now we are going to be talking about multiple constructors and how those work. So for example, this is a constructor where everything is previously set. Now you can have multiple constructors, but know that they have to have the difference in parameters. Okay? So for example, if I have a public car, that creates a problem. Well, there is a problem. I click the related problem. There are two constructors that are exactly the same. However, if I add a single parameter, that solves the problem. You see, the error is gone. So the error is gone. Now let's do another int. What do you guys, now here is a trick question. What do you guys think will happen if I make another constructor? But now, this time, instead of int speed, it's int age, int speed is int speed, int age. What will the computer do now? Do you guys see that this is also an error? The parameters, it doesn't really matter that the parameters are, the order is different, as long as the parameters are both int, it's going to recognize as an error. On the other hand, if I have int, if I only have one int, or if I have string after the string model after the int, that doesn't create a problem. Now, what if I have, instead of I have int age, instead of int age, I have int weight and int length. Do you guys think int weight and int length will create a problem? Yes or no? Type your answers in the chat. If I make a parameter of int weight and int length, would it cause me a problem? Well, that's okay. Let's just reveal the answer. The answer is no, it would create a problem because those are both int, even though they're different, they have different names. Yeah, I know this one is going to be weight and this one going to be length, but the computer doesn't know that. The computer sees two int right here, and it thinks it's an error. It's a repetition. It's an error. You can have multiple constructors, but the parameters must be different, and the type of variable must be different. The type of variable cannot be like the same with the same in the same order. You can have string int, and then you can have int string. Like for example, let's make it int and then string brand. Whereas int string brand int age. See, there is not a problem. Okay. Do you understand why that sometimes there are problems and sometimes they're not? If you don't understand, that's totally okay. There's no shame in like asking a question, because I also didn't understand this the first time I was coming into contact with constructors. If you don't understand, I would be very happy. I'd be more than happy to demonstrate this again. Okay, no questions. So I'm guessing that you guys do understand what was going on. So for example, I want a car that has a different age, has a different brand, and maybe not weigh the same, but has 4 functioning wheels. What that would do, what I would do is age equals age 1, brand equals brand, and the wheels equals 1. Right. And now when I go over to main and I create my new car, now this car I want to be a brand new car. I want to be 1 year old, and I want it to be a Ford, and I want it. What is the last one again? Wheels. I want to have 4 functioning wheels. Okay. Now, when I system.out.println the my car age not model brand, my car dot wheels. This should give me 1, Ford, and 4. See, that's what it gives me. You can have multiple constructors, and these constructors can initialize different and can give attributes different values using parameters. Now, what do you think if I called, oops, accidentally clicked. All right, what do you guys think will happen if I ask to see system.out.println my car length? What do you guys think will happen? Do you think it will? Do you think it will print anything out? If it prints something out, what do you think it will print out? If it doesn't print anything out, why doesn't it print anything out? Do you guys have answers? You can put your answers in the chat. No idea. That might be a car question. Let's run it and let's see. Surprise, surprise, length is 10. Why is the length 10? Didn't we initialize the length as 2 over here? Well, that's not how it works. In this case, we initialize the car with this parameter, with this constructor. And in this constructor, we did not initialize length. We did not initialize length, which means that this is irrelevant. When we create a new car, it automatically goes to here and it has age, brand, and wheels. When I call length, okay, it goes over here. And we check length over here. And here we see we didn't give length any value at all. Okay, since we didn't give any value, it's 0. Now here, if we change it to 5, this is 5 meters long, this is a long car, and we run testing, the class testing, it would give us 5. Does that make sense? Different parameters initialize different objects, different values. Different parameters initialize different variables with values. If this constructor does not initialize a certain variable, that variable, when called, will give out its original value. Most of the original value for these are like 0. Now, something similar will happen when we do model. No, it just gives us no. Well, when int when uninitialized, when I haven't added anything to it, it's automatic 0. But model, when I haven't added anything to it, is a string, so it's null. It doesn't have anything in there, so it's null. It doesn't throw an error though. There's not no pointer error because we don't actually do anything with it. In the case if we do like length plus 5 plus 6, and I make length 0 again. This also works. However, if I do my car.model plus like a little plus like period, this will simply print out null and period. So the null isn't the word that is the value that is associated with the model. It is just a placeholder for when there is nothing in there. Okay. You guys see how it adds up together when I haven't initialized anything yet? Okay. Now let's do something that is a little bit tricky. Let's make 2 cars. Your car. And this car is initialized with the other parameter. Okay. Now I will have a list. I will print out a lot of things, and you guys are in charge of putting what you think will be printed out by the computer when I hit run. Okay. So first one. Oops. Now this is quite a lot. Is there anything? Okay, I will take a snippet and put this into the chat. Okay, I will copy and paste this into the chat. Oh, I can't paste the picture into the chat. Well, that's okay. I'll just paste my code in the chat. And then you guys can have my code while there's no errors in here, right? Okay, and then while I put screen till here. And this way you can see both. Now it is 4:54. I will give you guys 3 minutes. Let's go until 4:57. 4:57, 3 minutes. These are all numbers or words, quite simple, and you can put your answers in the chat. Class is coming to an end, so if you have your answers, whatever they may be, it might not answer all of the questions right here, but just put your answers in the chat. But if you have any, if you don't have any, that's okay. I'll put whatever you have in the chat, and I will now go over the answers. So let's run this and see if you are correct. 1 for the true, 4 0, Tesla 4 1, false, and 0. Okay, let's start from the first one. My car.age, we just set the age to 1 here, so that's pretty easy to understand. My car.brand, we set the brand to Ford right here. That's also pretty easy to understand. Your car is electric. Now know that your car is initialized with this constructor, and when it initialized with this constructor, is electric is equal to true. Here we have your car door none. There's 4 doors on your car. Your car max speed. We didn't set max speed. Now this might be a tricky one because we did not set max speed here. We set max speed over here when there is a parameter, but however, we did not use this method when in testing. So max speed for both your car and my car is both 0. Okay, your car.brand Tesla, because that is the variable that is initialized. Your car.brand, what is your car.brand? Wait, am I on the right line? Door number. Wait, where am I? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Tesla brand. Oh, that makes sense. Brand is Tesla. Or I got lost for a second. Wheels is 4. That makes sense. My car wheels is 4. Because that's what we set it to here. 1. This is your car wheels, because we set it over here that your car only has 1 wheel, 1 working wheel. My car is electric. That's false because we didn't initialize anything here. When uninitialized booleans automatically revert to false. That is the case with all booleans, just as it is the case where all ints when initialized automatically is a 0. All strings when uninitialized is automatically null. Booleans when uninitialized is automatically false. And then we have my car.weight because we didn't initialize it. Weight is 0. That is it for today. We had a wonderful class, even though only 2 students came. I definitely hope more students come, and you guys should definitely continuing to come next Wednesday. We only have 2 more classes left. No, wait, 15, 16, 17, 18. Yes, we only have 3 more classes left. So let's take advantage of the last time we have together. Have a great day, guys. Have a great weekend too.